Australia did it, Goa is talking about it. The world is obsessed with one number, 16. It sounds decisive, like a parent finally stepping in. But here is the brutal truth. A ban isn't a strategy, it's a confession. A confession that we have failed to build a digital world fit for humans. Today we aren't doing a culture war, we are doing a reality check. Protection versus participation. Is this about saving kids or managing adult anxiety? Let's look at the fine print. First, let's kill a myth. Social media is not the disease, it's the amplifier. Vulnerable kids, already isolated, stressed, overlooked offline, get hit hardest online. If a child's dealing with academic burnout, schoolyard bullies, or family tension, Instagram doesn't create that pain. It just gives it a megaphone. When governments treat the platform as the root cause, they are practicing medical theatre. They are treating the cough while the lungs are failing. If we ban the app but ignore the structural drivers, the academic burnout, the lack of safe public parks, the family stress, what happens? The harm doesn't vanish, it just goes dark. A ban buys a politician a headline, it doesn't buy a child a safer life. Let's talk about the Australia effect. Under 16 bans are becoming the global cool kid of policy, but implementation is not impact. To enforce a ban, you need age verification. That sounds boring until you realize what it actually means. Handing over passports, biometrics, or face scan to tech companies or third-party vendors just to prove you are allowed to exist online. We are trying to protect children's well-being by sacrificing their privacy. And let's be real, kids are smarter than the policy. Workarounds, VPNs, and unmonitored dark platforms are already waiting. If a policy is experienced as unfair by the very adolescents it means to protect, it loses legitimacy. You haven't built a wall, you have just built a challenge. Pro-ban advocate says it buys us time to teach digital literacy. Respectfully, that's nonsense. Literacy delayed is literacy denied. You don't teach someone to swim by keeping them away from water until they are 16, then throwing them in the deep end. Resilience isn't a switch you flip at adulthood, it's a muscle you build early through guided exposure, not isolation. Instead of a blanket no push for graduated access, start small, monitored, educational, age-appropriate tools that teach navigation as kids grow. Pair that with safety by design, platforms coding out harm from the start. We need algorithms accountable for real safety, not parents as full-time digital police. There is a romantic argument here. If we ban phones, kids will go back to the parks. It's a lovely thought. It's also a false trade-off. Digital spaces are the new third spaces. For marginalized kids, for kids in rural areas, or for those with disabilities, the internet isn't an alternative to the real world, it is their connection to it. You cannot trade a digital right for a physical one. We shouldn't need a ban to justify building a library. Both are rights, both are non-negotiable. So where does that leave us? The solution to online harm isn't exclusion, it's redesign. We need safer systems, not quieter kids. We need to stop asking, how do we keep them out? And start asking, how do we make the world worthy of them? It's time to move past the panic and start the policy. Think about it.